So now we are going to work on and exercise on the comma splice and the run together or run-on sentence. Some sentences are correct. We can just write a C or a check mark. But for run-on sentences or comma splice sentences, I want you to correct them accordingly. And remember one thing, when the sentences get too complicated, we can always start by crossing out the phrases, especially our prepositional phrases. So for example, it was cold and raining outside. This is an independent clause. I settled down. I'm going to cross out prepositional phrase in a comfortable chair and read. So remember, an independent clause can have compound verb, right? And read this book called A Taste for Death. So I have two complete sentences with a comma in between. So this is actually a comma splice. So how do I correct it? Well, an easy way would simply to change that comma to a semicolon or perhaps a period. Or, of course, I can use comma fanboys or semicolon conjunction comma. All right, number 2. The car came to an abrupt stop. So I'm going to cross out the prepositional phrase again. Then 2 girls jumped out. Remember, the then is a conjunctive adverb. So it doesn't turn a clause into dependent clause. It is not a subordinating conjunction. So conjunctive adverb doesn't make a clause dependent like a subordinator does. So in this case, we also have 2 complete sentences with a semicolon in the middle. So this is a correct sentence. All right. And number 3. The medical students will begin their junior year rotations next week. This part, I'm going to cross out of their education because that's prepositional phrase, is very important. So I have 2 independent clauses with the comma in the middle. Again, we know that this is incorrect. This is a comma splice. So I'm going to change this into a period instead. All right, and number 4, the scholarship committee made a total of 50 awards. So I'm going to cross out of 50 awards because that is my prepositional phrase. And then interestingly, I see our relative pronoun which. So if you remember, a relative pronoun is like a subordinator. It means that we have an adjective clause, and an adjective clause is dependent. It cannot stand alone. And of course, which is always non-essential, and that is why there is a comma here. So we have one independent clause plus a dependent clause, and that is a correct sentence. So I'm going to put a check mark here. All right, so one more. Several members cross out of the preposition of the board, questioned some, cross out of, the expenditures, cross out in the treasurer's report because these are all prepositional phrases. And then I see, hey, I have she explained each one. And of course, I can cross out to their satisfaction, which is a prepositional phrase. What do I have between my 2 complete sentences? A comma. This is incorrect. This is a comma splice. So again, I need to change it to a semicolon or period or comma fanboys. And I'm going to use a period. and capitalize. I forgot to capitalize T. All right, one more. I am trying. Remember, verb can be more than one word. So am trying, present progressive, to make the sprinkler reach the dry spot in our lawn. So if you remember, to make the sprinkler reach the dry spot, this is our infinitive phrase, and this is functioning as the object of the sentence. All right, and the grass subject is dying there. I have two complete sentences with a comma. So, of course, this is again a comma splice. So, I'm going to change it to a period. Or actually, I'm going to use a semicolon. Or in this case, better yet, I'm going to use something else. I'm going to cross out the comma and instead use a subordinating conjunction because the grass is dying there, because this is a cause and effect sentence. All right, so as you can see, there's more than one correct way to correct these run-on or comma splice sentences. All right, and that is it.